Welcome back to this special edition of Houston Life. With yesterday's news, many families had some pretty tough conversations last night. Here with expert advice for parents and caregivers navigating these discussions, licensed professional counselor, Dr. Shana D. Lewis. Dr. Lewis, we always love having you on the show. Usually it's after something terrible like this, and I know a lot of parents out there were not alone last night when they were struggling finding the words to say, maybe starting the conversation, or finding the answers when their children were asking some pretty tough questions.
Yes, yesterday was a tough day, I think, for all parents. And one of the things that I want parents to realize is that we got to start helping our children to cope. So we're going to run through, what does that look like? The very first part of this, Derek, is you got to consider, what do they already know? And how do they feel about it? So the questions, I have two kids, 13 and 15. My first question to them is, what have you heard? What do you know? Because they got other kids at school, they got phones, their social media.
Yeah.
They got a lot of access.
Right, they've probably heard, right? And elementary school kids knew probably before they even got home from school.
Before they got home. So find that out first so you know where they're starting with their information, and to correct anything that may be inaccurate. Because you know how we can, rumors get started, if you will, and things can run and they're not even accurate. So to make sure it's accurate, but also to ask, how do you feel about it? What are you thinking about it, based on what it is that they know?
And before we get to the rest of the acronym, what about parents who have the philosophy that, okay, if my child here at home doesn't really know anything about what happened, I'm just going to pretend it didn't happen? Dangerous strategy?
You know, I get it. I understand it. You want to protect them as much as possible, but more than likely, they're going to be around other people or children at some point who do know, and there's a conversation, and they're less equipped when they have no information.
But how do you know when the information, though, might be too much for them? Is it based on their age?
It is. So that would be the O. You want to offer age-appropriate information. They can't take, young kids cannot emotionally absorb all of the details of what happened. So the language sounds very different in the conversation versus an older child where you can talk about details because they're already going to know a whole lot of them. They're going to tell it to you, actually.
Yeah, well, and let's say that your child, maybe they're not asking a lot of questions. Maybe they're a little bit more reserved. How much do you offer? How much do you volunteer?
Yeah, I think you talk about in general terms of, you know, something bad happened today in the world. Perhaps there were some other kids who might have been in danger. You don't have to go into all of the details if they have no information about those things, especially if they're very young. But you don't want them to be shielded as if it did not happen, because this is the world that they're in, and they have a right to be honest with them.
Yeah, honesty, very important.
Yeah.
Okay, as we continue with the word C.O.P.E, the acronym, let's get to the P. This, you say, purposefully limit media exposure.
Yeah. So our kids have a lot of access, don't they, Derek, to a lot of social media, a lot of TV.
Many screens.
Too many screens. But as parents, you want to limit it. Why? Because images are traumatizing. What they see will sear in their mind, and now they're seeing those visuals, and it may not be of anything directly related to what exactly happened, but even the aftermath, people crying about it, people being on TV and the news talking about it. That is excessive and overwhelming to their system. Limit it. For little kids, you can cut it off completely, really. And your conversation. Know what's happening in your background. You may be listening to the radio or watching, or TV is on and you're not watching it, but they're hearing it. That counts too.
So turn that TV off.
Turn it off.
Okay, let's get to the E in the word C.O.P.E. The word is ensure, so ensuring normalcy and check-ins in the days to come.
Yes, that is so important. Returning back to a sense of normalcy, routine is where our children find security and stability. They know what to expect. So as soon as we can return to what's normal, like celebrating birthdays or doing the things we were already going to do this weekend, do those things, but check in with them, because how they feel today may be different a couple days from now as it continues to kind of sink in. So don't think because today they're fine that they may not be fine in a couple of days. You want to make sure you keep checking in.
Continue checking in. We're out of time, but very quickly, for parents out there who have young people who right now are just afraid to go back to school, even though there's a few days left for many students for the rest of the year, what advice for them?
I would say hear your children out, encourage and support them, let them know that they are safe, you are here for them, and that their school is as well.
All right, Dr. Shana D. Lewis, we've got to leave it there. Thanks so much for always making time for us here at Houston Life, and thanks for your advice.
You're welcome.
And to our viewers, you can get Dr. Shana's full tip sheet by texting the word C.O.P.E, C-O-P-E, to 55444. We'll also be sharing a link to connect with her on our website, houstonlife.tv.